Just 1 second. Oh, okay. I got the okay to go ahead. Let me just open up the chat. Perfect. So, without further ado, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Dina. I'm a naturopath at the Circle of Wellness, and I'm so happy to have you here today looking at reframing your resolutions. So, as I'm going to get started, I'm going to be sharing my screen with the presentation. The one thing I want to share with everybody is that this session is going to be recorded. You can always make sure that you can review it again. And if you know that you've had some amazing information, do share it with any friends, colleagues, coworkers, because the more people that can have that information, the better I feel we're going to be and supporting them at the same time. So without further ado, let's get started. So the aim is today is really looking at reframing your resolutions. And the aim is to really setting goals that stick, because the aim is realistic and healthy lifestyle changes and not just setting goals and then what we find ourselves is kind of losing track. And then by the third week, we lose track. And here's the thing, depending why you're here, and if you want, you can always share it inside the chat, and I'll be answering questions throughout the presentation. If ever you have questions along the flow, don't hesitate to message me in the chat, and then I'll be sharing some, maybe an open mic at the end, and we can all kind of chat and see how I can help you. Because you might be here, whether you're tired of dieting, you want to develop a healthy relationship with food, or looking to support your overall well-being, you're actually in the right place. Because here's the thing, close to 25% of people actually abandon the New Year's resolution after just 1 week. And within 60% of actually abandon within 6 months. And when we look in terms of our resolution, most the average person makes the same resolution almost 10 separate times without success. So if you feel like you're always doing the same resolution and there's kind of a struggle to make it happen, here's the thing, we're going to be able to simplify things today and really show you why it's actually a struggle for you right now. When we look regarding weight loss, only 5% of people actually lose weight on a diet and keep it off. And 95% of it actually begin to gain it more than they originally lost. And the reason for that is your body goes into survival mechanism and it wants to gain more. And very often we kind of tell ourselves, oh, if there's like a health issue, we're going to be making a change. However, and if even seen in my private practice back in the day, even after a heart attack, only 14% of patients actually make any lasting changes through eating and exercising. So if you feel like there's a struggle for you setting resolutions and maybe you had some health issues and you feel like you're not able to kind of stick to them, here's the thing. There's a big change we want to talk about today, how to reframe resolutions, and I'll bring some simplicity way to actually help you make it a change. Now, here you're in the right place. If you've been working on the same goal every year with little or no progress, you start working towards it only to get off track because a little something throws you off, an event, a stress, a work project. Or sometimes you're really tired of those exaggerated goals and ready to find something that works. Because many resolutions, it's like big goals, big dreams, but then we're like, is this actually realistic in my day-to-day? A little bit about me. My name is Dina. I'm a naturopath, a neurolinguistic programming practitioner, yoga and mindfulness coach, and I was actually a former dietitian as well for 21 years. And my main expertise is really helping my clients break free from overeating and any unhealthy lifestyle habits so as to feel confident and energized in their body, show up empowered in their business, and experience more joy in their life. Because my aim is to help my clients start living today and not waiting for a scale or certain size of clothing to help them say, like, now's the time that we can be happy. What we're going to be covering today is really knowing the common obstacles and misconceptions around creating change when it comes to nutrition, fitness, and mindset. We want to understand how to set up realistic winning goals to achieve optimal health. And as well, we want clarity on the next steps to start accomplishing the things that matter and start creating the life that you want. And here's the truth about setting resolutions that I really want to share with you today. And this is, even though like I followed some of these tips in the beginning, as I start coaching my clients, something always felt off, and it was the system that was off. It wasn't the client. People that set goals are actually healthier, but there's a system to follow. You can't just set yourself a big goal and saying, you know what, just because I said it, it's going to happen. There's actually a system a method behind it. So the step one, you do want to set a goal. And we've seen that people that set a goal and write the goal are going to be accomplishing it more than people that just think about their goal. And it's very good to focus on 1 to 3 if they are aligned. So it could be one around your health, one around your relationships, and one around your business or your work. But I feel like you're setting maybe 10 different goals, it might be a little too much. And as well, when you set on one goal at a time, it actually creates a ripple effect. As soon as you succeed in one goal, it's going to help you create more success in the other ones. So don't focus on, let me do as much as possible, as many goals as possible. Let's keep it as simple as possible because slow and steady always wins the race. So have you heard about this one, the smarter goals? Give me a yes in the chat if you heard it before. Perfect. Yeah. So the smarter goal is something that we've seen a lot. Let me see. My computer is tricky. Thank you. Yeah. So let me just reshare slideshow. There we go. Oh, sorry about that. I'm going to stop. I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to check the chat as I progress. Okay. So we look at smarter goals. It's something that has really interesting concepts. So let's look at what specific is. Just to give you a bit of an overview. So specific is you want to lose weight versus I want to lose 10 pounds. Putting a number on it is going to be something more quantifiable to measure. But also we want something that's measurable. It could be financial. I want to make more money or I want to make $5,000 more than last year. But you also want to focus, is it attainable and achievable? I want to work out. I want to work out 3 times 30 minutes per week. And also in terms of being realistic, I'm going to lose weight in 1 month versus I want to lose weight, 10 pounds in 6 months. There's a big difference there. And when we look in terms of time, I want to run a marathon versus I want to run a marathon by July 1st. So all those are really going to give you like an idea of what we're doing. Yeah. So this is the thing. It's going to be very interesting to have that. But as well, you want it to be exciting. That's what we used to have, the smart, and now the smarter goal. So you want it to be exciting, which means make it a goal that you look forward to reaching, not something that you're dreading or you're doing it for somebody else. And as well, you want it to be relevant to where you are today and maybe not the goal you had 5 or 10 years ago. So I know with this smarter goal, it's really interesting because it can be specific. You can really have a guideline. It gives you focus, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, there's a big problem of just following the smarter goal because there's a struggle behind it. It is a great to know what to focus on. However, it doesn't have space for lifestyle changes and life's bumps on the road. And as well, when you focus on the big picture, you're not able to actually create personalization for each person's needs. And as well, it looks good on paper. I want to lose like 10 pounds in 2 months, let's say. But it actually can be like, it can be actually like overwhelming to implement when motivation high runs out, because so many clients, January 1st, like, oh my God, let's do this. They have the resolution, life is great. And then it starts trickling down because their motivation starts going down. And then there's a whole self-doubt. And very often we have these big goals and they say, no pain, no gain, go big or go home. However, when we have that big motivation of going all in, that we're going to hit those goals, and we might have coaches that might say, yes, we'll be able to, it can sometimes be unrealistic on our day-to-day because life happens. And then as soon as we start missing an action, let's say we forget to work out one day, or the plan that we had, like there was no burgers in my meal, and like today I had a burger, we kind of go in this like self-destructive type of thinking of negative self-talk. And then it's overwhelm and then disappointment. And then you're like, you know what? Why even try? I've only been in this for 3 weeks and I failed. What's the point? It's not worth it. And then what happens? We go even into burnout because we did it too much with something that's unrealistic and we quit it all. The same thing, like as an example, is I want to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. I'm going to train every day. I'm going to follow the Whole30 diet plan. I'm going to buy a dress at two sizes too small to motivate me. But me just saying it right now, I feel very anxious just saying, because I'm like, it feels like there's so much. It's as if we have to put our life on pause and do that. So you really want to kind of take a step back saying, we're not saying that you cannot lose 30 pounds. We're not saying that. But the steps that we're going to go towards it is something that feels good with a bit of a challenge. Or does it feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This already feels overwhelming. I didn't even start the plan yet, and I want to quit it. And here's a true foundation of winning goals. I do believe in having the smarter concept because it gives you a guideline, but you want to make it and see smaller wins behind it at the same time, which means you have your big goal, but having 10 small goals under it and having small actions under it. Because you know how when you look at kids when they're brushing their teeth and when they're young and we put like stickers on their calendar, like a little star every single day to motivate them, we lose that as adults. For us, it's like I need to have 30 days of brushing my teeth perfectly. Otherwise, I don't even get a little star. But with kids, we do that little star, that little motivation. So we need to find as well ways to create that motivation. I'm going to talk about that as well. And you want to create flexibility. So you want to look at your smarter goal and you want to kind of like step it back a bit. If let's say you say 30 pounds in 3 months, why not start with 10 pounds in 3 months? And then for that 10 pounds, what actions am I going to think of doing? I'm going to exercise every day. Why not exercise like 2 times a week? Why not start smaller and ramp up to get up instead of giving yourself that big goal that is very overwhelming to do? And as well, you want to look at your healthy lifestyle goals versus quick fixes. When you look at nutrition, balance over restriction. When you look at fitness, consistency over intensity. And we look at mindset, embracing flexibility and compassion. And this is the 3 questions I ask all my clients when they set their goals, or whatever action plan they're going to be putting into. Can I follow this for a year? Would I recommend this to a friend or even my child? And when I look at that goal or those actions, do I feel expansive or contractive when thinking of my goal or the actions to take? So this might be a bit of a new concept, the expansive contractive. So if I say, hey, you working out every day, how does it feel in your body? If you're not used to working out every day, you're going to be like, stress, anxious, will I be able to, maybe the negative self-talk is coming in, then you're getting contracted. You're feeling like it's too much already. If I say, hey, what if twice a week you take a 20-minute walk? You might be like, huh, okay, expansive, doable. So expansive feels like it's doable. It feels like I'm opening up doors. When I'm saying I'm going to work out every day, it feels like, oh my God, I have to put something else on my to-do list. I cannot handle all this. So it's one way to kind of feel, is this an action I feel I can be realistic with and including it in my day-to-day or my week-to-week or month-per-month? Or am I setting my standards a little bit too high that maybe one day I'm going to train every day, but how can I start smaller to get there? Slow and steady always wins the race. This is why you want to shift the focus from goal to journey. Because often we wait until we hit the goal to be happy, healthy, confident, and love. Like saying, once I lose my weight, I'm going to feel confident. Once I lose my weight, I'm going to go to the gym. Once I lose my weight, I'm going to start dating again. But what if the activities you do every single day, beyond the scale, beyond your goal, you didn't reach it, you feel happy, healthy, and confident and loved? How about when you take that walk 20 minutes, you're like, you know what, I'm doing something great for myself. Pat yourself on the back. Today, you're like, you know what? I had my 2 liters of water. Good for you. What if you do an activity of confidence that you're like, you know what? I'm going to go shopping and find something that makes me feel good right now in my body. And if I'm going to have to change clothing because I lose weight, then I'll change the clothing. But how can I enjoy the journey right now and not put our life on pause until we reach the goal? And this is the key. It's really setting up those actions to maybe step out a little bit out of our zone of comfort, but this is what creates a positive change of health. And I know it's going to be such a funny example that I'm going to be sharing right now, but whenever you had to learn something, the walking, the swimming, the driving, you didn't go from overnight saying, I'm going to be able to drive on the highway. It took time, it took lessons, it took learning, it took practice until you're able to drive on the highway. Because that was what scared me when I first started driving is, oh my God, the highway. You had to change lanes and everyone's driving so fast. So why not focus on the goals like that? How can I make sure that I'm taking the little steps of uncomfort a little bit, but enjoying the journey at the same time? Because I will get to my goal. If you focus on the happiness now, you'll reach your goal. But if you're waiting for happiness later, the negative self-talk is going to be coming in. Now, step 2, once you do the smarter goals and you're like, okay, let me like trickle down, bring it back down a little bit, have something that feels realistic, a bit challenging, but not too overwhelming. We need to feel the goal within you. Does anybody know what that would mean? Or does anybody has ever tried feeling the goal? Maybe you heard it somewhere before. And you haven't, it's okay, because a lot of people haven't heard about that yet. So some people know, not, you didn't hear that as a phrase. Yeah. No. And this is something that we are missing out in goal setting. We're focusing on goal setting in a logistic way, like 1 + 1 = 2. This is my goal. These are my actions. This is what I have to do. But it's a big gap when setting goals, because when you set goals from a logical point of view, you're not actually internalized physical view of your goal. This is why we need to connect emotionally, and through visualization with your goal is a big important step for success. Take athletes. They are the best example about this. We sometimes don't give our goals big importance. We say athletes, they're training to the Olympics, they're doing all the work. But even though they do all the work, all the physical work, what you see between those that keep going and don't burn out and reach the level that they want, and those that actually end up leaving or closing up that chapter in their life a little earlier on, is that inner mindset, like we talked about before. But as well, it's a visualization, it's feeling the goal. And when I talk about feeling the goal or visualization, it's really like sitting there, closing your eyes. I'm going to talk about in a second. It's really sitting there, closing your eyes and feeling as if you already reached your goal. That actually sets a positive mindset in your day. Like when you look at athletes, they sit down and they're visualizing themselves. They're jumping in, like, I'm going to talk about swimming because I used to be a swimmer. They're diving into the pool, and they're picturing themselves like lap after lap, going after it, doing their breathing, focusing on their stroke. They're picturing themselves going faster and faster and hitting that wall first, and raising their head and seeing that they won gold medal. That's what athletes are doing. And that's why us in our day-to-day, we need to do that. Steve Jobs had an image of what he wanted Apple to be. I think it's the Wright brothers who invented flying. They all had an image, a visualization of what their goal was, and they kept thinking and visualizing and picturing it. So big goal, small goal, a goal is a goal. Your goal is as important as, flying, as getting an Olympic medal, because it's very important for you. So let's talk about how to feel the goal. Number one, I want you to free write why reaching the goal is important to you. Because you want to make sure you're connected to the goal that is something you're doing for you and not for somebody else. And that's a big thing. Sometimes we're like, I want to lose 10 pounds. Why? What are 10 pounds going to change? It's like, my jeans will fit better. Okay. What else? I'm not saying it's wrong, your goal, at all. But you got to put a little bit more meat around that goal. You got to put a little bit more emotion around that goal. Because just saying I'm going to fit again in my pants, it doesn't feel motivating enough. It's going to be very easy to drift away. But if you say, I'm going to feel better, I'm going to be able, let's say 10 to 20 pounds, I'll be able to bend down and tie my shoelaces better. I'm going to be able to say yes to events. I'm going to feel more happy and confident and intimate with my partner. I'm going to feel less self-conscious to go to the pool and wear a bathing suit. I'm going to feel like I'm going to be helping my pre-diabetes. I really want to make sure that when I look myself in the mirror and I was like, wow, you took care of you, good for you. You want to free write why reaching the goal is important. And you want it to be an internal importance. If it's like, my partner will find me more attractive, my doctor will be happier, external things, contractive. But it's because I'm going to feel more confident. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to fit into my clothes. I'm going to say yes to that trip vacation. Internal, bring that emotion in. Once you free write, and I recommend with every goal, find me at least 20 reasons why you want to reach it. 20 to really drive that meditation we're going to be talking about. And then I want you to kind of sit down, read your goal, and then close your eyes and just picture it for a minute. How will reaching that goal make you feel? How will you be? How will your life change? I actually created a guided meditation. I think it's like 10 minutes long. If ever you're curious of getting it, just message me. You can find me, Dina Marabie, over on Instagram, on social media. Message me because it's a really nice meditation of 10 minutes to help you kind of visualize yourself, how you're going to be, how you're going to feel when you reach whatever goal you're looking for. And it's as if you're already projecting yourself in the future when you reach that goal. And when you're able to meditate or visualize every single day and connect to that image of you, you're going to wake up and you're going to do the work, you're going to do the actions because you know how it's going to feel already because you're feeling it already when you reach that goal. So this is when you talk about you want to feel it. You want to feel the end point today. And that's why visualization is very, very important. Feeling it in your body is very important. Not just writing it down and doing another to-do list, is waking up every morning or maybe even during the day and saying, you know, why am I doing all this work for? Closing your eyes and reconnecting to your goal. So do message me over on Instagram if you want. I'll type in my name after Dina Marabie and I can send it to you. And it's going to guide you. You can do that every single morning and it's going to guide you to really embrace that goal that you're seeking. Because when you wake up and you're just thinking about it and you're like, I feel good. Oh my. Okay. I don't know if anybody saw that, but there was some weird writing on the screen. Did you see that, Jamie?
I did, yes, but I think it's all good now.
Okay. Well, and we continue. Yeah, that was very odd. We have, that's online presence. Little glitches happen, and guess what? We continue. So now that you wrote in your goal, now that you felt it, step 3, you want to put chance on your side. That's where we're diving a little bit more than just the smarter goals. Many people won't talk about the obstacles that block some from reaching their goal. We think, write your goals, do the actions. Now I'm talking about visualization. Everything is great. There's work to do. It doesn't have to be hard, but there's still some work to do. Here are some common obstacles when you're setting goals. You want to make sure that the goals are personalized to you and your actions as well, because you don't want to set the same goal every single year because you are not the same person you were last year. Also, you might not be acknowledging your unique body and needs because how to eat and how to move and how to be healthy in your 20s is not the same in your 30s, it's not the same in your 40s, not the same in your 50s. And as well, you want to make sure you're setting a goal to make you happy and not make someone else happy. And that's a big thing. Even when people do goals to please their doctors, that doesn't work. You're like, oh, my doctor said my cholesterol or I gained weight or I need to be careful because maybe I'm going to have to go on Ozempic and all that. It's still you're doing it for somebody else. Why is you taking care of you important for you? The other thing we want to look at is mindset, the all or nothing thinking and perfectionism. For example, here's my plan. I'm going to follow it to the T. But as soon as, let's say I was not supposed to eat cookies and I had a cookie or two and finished the box, I ruined my work. I'm going to quit. This is not going to work out. Or perfectionism. If, let's say, I had set up a 30-minute workout, I only did 25, what's the point? I said I'm going to do 30. And then you beat yourself up because you didn't follow the plan. Mindset very often is the thing that blocks people from following through. Because if you had a cookie, even if you had a box of cookie once, that's not going to make a big change in your day-to-day or in your health. But if you let that box of cookies ruin all the progress you've been doing and then let go of the future progress, that's where the problem is. If you said you're going to work out 3-4 times a week and you missed 1 week because of XY reason it was hard, that 1 week is nothing compared to the rest of your life. But if you that 1 week or that one workout ruined all your work and your all progress, that's when we end up going back to the starting point. And you also have to consider your lifestyle reality, unrealistic scheduling. Like, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to get everything done. Trust me, I tried it. I cannot wake up at 5. Like, I can't. The sun is still sleeping. My dog is still sleeping. It's not going to work out. It's really seeing what your lifestyle is and making small adjustments to make your actions realistic and not thinking you're going to transform your whole life, your whole schedule, becoming one of these people that wake up at 5 a.m. to get things done. Because you don't want it to be, you're adding so much more on your to-do list. Because I'm sure if you're already overwhelmed with your schedule, adding 5 to 10 more things to do per day might be a little overwhelming. So we want to bring simplicity in your goals and in your actions. And this is a big thing. Many of us are very high achieving, focused. We're going to get things done. We sometimes are overachievers, maybe we're perfectionists, maybe like we're there so much for other people, we're supportive to other people. But sometimes we have that lack of support. Lack of support could be from a coach, could be from a naturopath, could be from a therapist, lack of support from a partner, from your family. But support is very, very important. You don't have to do it all on your own. You know, it takes a community to create a change, and you need your community to help you create the change as well. And here's one big thing behind creating any positive change in your life. A habit, not a goal. A habit takes at least 66 days to start to get integrated naturally. Notice I said a habit and not a goal. So let's say you want to focus on drinking water and you want it to become kind of like second nature. Drinking water every single day in 66 days, or maybe less, or maybe more, it became part of your new reality. So imagine you're trying to change 10 things at the same time. It's going to be too much to catch up on for 66 days. That's why when you look at any type of goal plan, it's always good to give yourself a longer period of time. If you gained it before, why not? But you have to give yourself time. This is why it's very important to focus on 3 core actions that will lead to the biggest result and not doing 10 and not sure which one's going to stick for you. As well, no matter what actions you are doing, and I'm going to give you a little bit something called the power of 3, you want to make sure that they're personalized to you. So the way I eat and the way I move is probably not the way you should eat and you should move. The way I sleep is not the way that you should sleep. Everybody is so different. So don't implement something because somebody you know did it and it worked out for them, like intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting actually works better on men than on women. Just a heads up. So be careful what you're implementing, what actions you're doing, because you might be actually wasting precious time bringing all these actions in that actually don't work for your genetics, your gender, your lifestyle, your body chemistry. Because it's not as simple as calorie in, calorie out. There's so much more to take into consideration. And you also want to be careful with these, nutrition and, fitness myth. Like, I have to cut carbs to be healthy, or I'm addicted to food and sugar, or I have to do cardio daily to lose weight, or I have to do intermittent fasting because once I start eating, I can't stop. Number one, all foods have a good part in your day to day, because I don't believe in restriction. I don't believe in good food or bad food. I don't believe in food addiction per se. There are some people that are addicted to it physiologically, but most people are addicted to it emotionally as a coping mechanism, as a survival mechanism. And as well, when we look in terms of cardio, we've seen for women 40 and above, we need to focus more on weight training and not cardio training. And as I said, in terms of intermittent fasting, it works better on men than on women. So you see, there's so many things that we cannot just take any recommendation for face value, like this is it, this is the truth, I need to follow it. There's so many other things you want to look at that are very important, that is beyond these health trends, if I can say that, or these myths, because they do have some truth sometimes, but that's probably for like 1% of the population. So the new system. You want to set smarter goals like we mentioned. You want to feel your goal, but now we're going to be adding a little bit more little things to make sure that you succeed. So there's a power of 3. We're going to dissect each action into smaller actions because small changes equal bigger and more lasting results. We're going to look at progress tracking beyond the numbers, celebrating milestones like those little, stars we do for kids on the calendar. Seek support for personalized plan and mindset upgrade, and as well focus on momentum. Let's continue with this part. The power of 3. I love the power of 3 because when there's so many things that we think we need to do, it actually will simplify things and give you a better success rate. So once you have your smarter goal, and I'm going to use one very generic, I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months. I want you to brain dump all the actions you believe you need to do to reach it. So you might list everything nutritionally you think you need to do, everything fitness you need to do, anything lifestyle, sleep, self-care, just like write all the actions down. Then I want you to dissect each action into smaller actions. So for example, You might say like, I need to increase more vegetables. What does that mean? I want to eat vegetables, lunch and dinner. Okay, better. I want to train every day. What does it mean? I want to do 30 minutes at 8 a.m. and so on. But then we're going to dissect it a little bit more. Once you have all these actions listed out, I want you to put it under appropriate pillar. So as I said, if it's weight loss, which ones fall under nutrition, which ones fall under fitness, and which ones fall into like self-care or other. That's where sleep would come in. And then when you look at all that, I want you to look through all your actions and highlight them. Highlight, put a 1 under one that are easy to implement. You're like, oh, I can do this very easy. 2, that can be kind of challenging. And 3, that is actually going to be maybe a big change for you. So then what you do with the nutrition, for example, we're going to focus on one pillar at a time. You look at nutrition, you take one of the easy ones, one of the medium ones, and one of the hard ones, and you focus on that at least for 2 weeks. Don't focus on all the actions. Remember, it's going to create a snowball effect. Once you start creating a nice change in one, it's going to create a better snowball effect on the other one. And the reason why we pick one easy, one medium, and one a little bit harder, it's because when you're able to reach the easy and the medium, it makes you feel good. That makes you be consistent with the hard action. But if you only focus on 3 hard ones, you're not giving yourself a fighting chance. You're making things too hard for you. And only when you're able to succeed at those 3, can you add in maybe 3 in the fitness. And then when you do the 3 in the fitness, then you do 3 in self-care. You see how we're moving from one pillar to the next. We're not just focusing on one or all of them at the same time. Because as soon as you create any change, nutrition, fitness, or mindset, lifestyle, health, you are going in the right direction. It's not a race. The more you focus on this on a race and I have to reach it as soon as possible, you're going to feel so overwhelmed. You're going to want to do everything. Then you're going to do nothing at all. We focus on simplicity. One easy, one medium, and one bit harder. You're going to get that momentum. You're going to give yourself that little pat on back. Okay, this is getting easy. And only when the 3 of them have been being implemented and you're like, okay, it's not that much of a struggle. Okay, now I can add something else. Give yourself the time, give yourself the space to create those change. And I find that power of 3 has created the most momentum for my clients because of those little wins that they're getting from their easy and medium. And those wins are actually empowering them to kind of say, you know what? I can do hard things. But they can only do hard things because they gave themselves space to also tackle the small and the medium ones at the same time. But here's the thing. You want to look also at those goals. If there's something of an action that is really big and you're like, I want to exercise every day, for example, because I'm sure like I've been there. I'm like, oh, that's it. This year, I'm going to boot camp every day. I'm done. I'm going to go every day. And I was like, oh my God, I burned out within 30 days. Lesson learned. No. So if you see there's like a big action and you're like, this is overwhelming, dissect it. Instead of thinking I'm going to work out every single day for 60 minutes, which I know, old school, that's what we're thinking we need to do. How about, I'm going to move my body 3 times a week at 8 a.m. for 10 minutes. You see how this is specific. 3 times a week, 8 a.m. So you can kind of put it in your calendar so you can create a routine for 10 minutes. You might be saying, well, 10 minutes is nothing. 10 minutes is better than nothing. But 10 minutes, once you're doing that and you get the energy and the momentum, you're going to be like, you know what? I can do this every day. And then you can go to every day 30 minutes, or you can do 3 times a week, 30 minutes. You can play around with it. And that's how I started instilling like healthier fitness regimen for me. What I decided to do just to become more healthy and fit, I was like, you know what? No matter what, at 8 a.m., I'm getting dressed and I'm going to do something. Sometimes it was a 10-minute stretch. Sometimes it was on my spinning bike. I just biked for 15 minutes. Sometimes I did a yoga. Sometimes I started a video for 5 minutes and then I stopped. But here's the thing. Every day at 8 a.m., I started creating like a momentum of saying at 8 a.m., I work out my body. I give myself 2 days off per week because there were big days with work. But you know what happened? Every day I was doing my workout at 8 a.m., it just became like normal. It was not I have to work out. I was like, oh, it's 8 a.m., let me get dressed. I did not even think about it anymore. Imagine you can create that kind of sense of it's just who you are. And it's who I am right now. I wake up, I get dressed. Some days if I'm really don't feel like it, I'm like, what's happening today? I'm like, okay, I give myself patience and grace. I'm like, it's fine. I'll go later on with my dog and I'll walk it. But I always understand, I'm like, why don't I feel like it today? And it happens. But I know in the beginning, I was like, you know what, 5 minutes. I lifted weights for 5 minutes. I went on my spinning bike for 5 minutes. I just gave myself that little instilling the routine at 8 a.m. That was my goal. That movement was part of my day to day. So it's simplicity in a certain way, but it's consistency of what's going to work. And 5 minutes was better than nothing. Because if I didn't have those days that I did it for 5 minutes, I would not be where I am right now, where I'm able to work out for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and not even like say, oh my God, I have to. I'm like, oh, it's just who I am. I integrated that habit into into my mindset, into my lifestyle, because I create that consistency of 8 a.m. no matter what, I'm moving for at least 5 minutes. Because small changes equal bigger results. When you think of adding vegetables, say, I'm going to add vegetables every day at lunch, every day, no matter what. And then it just becomes, I have vegetables every day. Drinking water. What I tell my clients, like, fill up your water bottle, put it on your desk. It just becomes who it is. Prepping one meal per week. It's not like you have to take your Sunday off and you want to, like, you know, I don't do meal prep all day. Like, even me, I felt overwhelmed from cooking chicken. I'll cook 8 portions. I'll freeze some. I'll have some for the week. Fitness, moving more. That's the focus. Move your body every day at 8 a.m. Exactly how I instilled my fitness routine. Walking 50 minutes after lunch. If every 50 minutes you end up like listening something on YouTube or calling a friend, do that. Stretch at night before bedtime. It's small. See, I'm not saying overhauling your eating, cutting all this, counting calories. I'm not saying hit the gym every single day. Same thing with resting. Avoid your phone for 1 hour when you wake up. That has been something very helpful for your dopamine, for your brain, for your focus. Or even every morning, just write 3 things you're grateful for. Simple. Those little simple things, we don't give them enough power. We all think we have to go big to create a change, but that's what becomes very overwhelming. Think when you're young and you're learning how to do something, we're very patient with kids. Why can't we be patient with ourselves and our goals at the same time? And you want to look at progress tracking beyond the numbers, because often the scale, calorie counting or calorie burning, or even tracking your steps can be motivating at first. But in the long term, it's actually going to be hindering your progress and even on your off days. Because if you step on that scale and you're like, I'm doing all this amazing work and you didn't lose weight, you'll be like, well, why am I doing this? You lost 1 pound. Well, it's only 1 pound. You gained 1 pound. Let's not even go how the mind will go in that sense. So as soon as you put a number on your success in that sense, it's going to be counterproductive. Weighing yourself once a month might be better. Focusing on your clothing is better. But how can we track other things? Remember we talked about like feeling your goals and writing at least 20 reasons why you want to reach it? You might be like, how's your energy level during the day? How do you feel in your clothes? When you're following your daily actions, how committed do you feel about yourself? How confident are you about you? There's so many different things of saying, you know what, no matter what the numbers are going to be, I said, I'm going to drink a liter of water every single day. I said, I'm going to have my vegetables every day at lunch, and I'm going to move at 8 o'clock in the morning, no matter what. Why not give yourself your pat on the back for that? This is the progress tracking. Can you track the actions with a bit of flexibility? There's been a few days that are off, but why not track that? And instead of tracking the number that can change for so many reasons, water retention, inflammation, digestive issues, so many reasons. And one big thing is celebrating milestones. And that's one thing that we don't often do. Wins are needed to celebrate because success comes from enjoying the journey and not just waiting for your destination. So we wait until we reach the goal to be happy. But how can we be happy in the journey? So I recommend everyone to celebrate by setting a list of gifts you will give yourself by sticking to your plan. So not food, not alcohol, not I'm going to go to the restaurant, but it could be, you know what? Every time that I'm sticking to my goals and my actions, I'm going to put like $5 or $10, $20 in a piggy bank. And at the end of the month, I see how much I have and I'm going to go shopping with that. Or if I'm able to stay on track for these 2 weeks, again, on track doesn't mean you have to be military. 2 weeks, I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to go to like paint and sip event. Okay, let's go with that. You know, yes, there's a bit of alcohol there, but there's the painting coming, which is an activity. So it's really saying, how can you celebrate these wins? If there's always a class you wanted to take, if there's something like artsy that you wanted to do, why not invest in that as a gift for yourself and not waiting until you reach that goal to give yourself that gift? Because this is what's going to help motivate you. How can you give yourself those little golden stars on your calendar every day? And this is a big thing. Seeking support for your personalized plan. Not everyone should eat, move, and rest the same way. This is why personalized coaching is very important. And when it comes to mindset, which I had mentioned before, it's one of the biggest things that block us from success. We cannot think our way forward because it's our thinking that is blocking us and pulling us back. And it's only when there's somebody from the outside that helps you reframe the way that you see situations and being on your side and supporting you. This is where we can kind of create a change, because even if maybe where you are right now you don't feel good, it's familiar to you, and your brain will only want to keep you to what is familiar. The body and the brain does not like getting out of its comfort zone. It's like, I know what this is, I'm used to this, I'm good. Even though I'm not feeling good, even though maybe I gained weight, maybe I'm exhausted, I'm familiar with this, I'm going to stay exactly where I am. So you need somebody on the outside to help you see what's on the other side, to step out of your comfort zone. And this is when real change and success happens. We're setting your goals and focusing on the momentum. As I mentioned, when you focus on the small actionable steps that you're doing, remember the power of three, you're going to have that nice variety, and one win is going to help feed the other and feed the other, and then the momentum continues, because consistency is maintaining that momentum. It's not going all in and then you quit and then you're back in and then you go back. It's better to do smaller, like, the turtle and I was going to say the bunny, the turtle and the hare, I think. It's really make sure you're keeping the pace no matter what, because you're going to get there. But if you're always going back and forth, you're going to be missing that end goal. And here's the one thing that I remember I read once from one of my mentors, and I loved it, is the key to success is motivation, but it's the motive and the actions. So the motive is, remember the feeling, 20 reasons why you want to reach that goal, and it's taking action. It's a part together. So very often motivation, emotional motivation is fleeting, but you can create your motivation every single day by looking at your goal, remembering the reason why you want to reach it, visualizing it every single day, and having the appropriate actions on its side to make the change happen. So where do we go from here? So I'm going to go, I think I have a few minutes, and then I'm going to open up if anybody has questions. Whenever I do a workshop like this, there's a lot of amazing information. You'll have access to the replay. You can always review it and look through it. So, and if you have any key takeaways, would love for you to share it with us. But as well, if you're ready to be supported in your goals and having a system and expertise to actually help you follow through, something I'm going to be sharing with you. And if you have any questions, you can always message me later over on Instagram if there's any questions. If you want to be supported, I have something for you to help you through this 3-week where our resolutions go down, to help you kind of get back on track, the right track for you, and help you succeed. I've actually created a system called the Revive and Thrive system. And very soon I'm going to be sharing a book about it to really help clients understand what the 3-part system is, because I truly believe that we need to reset the body, uncover your optimal health plan so that your body starts working with you. We need to rewire the way we see situations, because very often it's our mindset that's blocking us from moving forward. But as well, reigniting our confidence, having a positive body image, embracing our uniqueness, and how can we create unwavering belief in ourselves to keep going no matter what? And this is where resilience comes in. Whenever there's bumps on the road, how can we see them as lessons and not as failures? So through this Revive and Thrive system, I work a lot of it with my private coaching clients. But one big thing that I'm going to be launching very soon, if this speaks to you, I would love to have you, is my program called Let's Eat. It really helps my clients to get unstuck, reset their body and health. It also helps them as well reset their system. So sorry, I was looking at the chat question. So if you're ready to get unstuck and reset your body and health, because it's possible, your body wants to work on your side. If you want to energize your mindset, you want to end your battle with food and feel great in your body, this amazing 12-week program, I've been running it for 6 years, and the success stories are honestly fascinating, because you're going to be learning how to energize your body and mind to know how to eat for your unique body code. You're going to activate your metabolism and have daily health routines that are personalized to you, and as well transform your habits and your mindset for the long-term success. But the big thing about Let's Eat, the thing that I love the most, is the community. Being surrounded with the people and being in a supportive environment, everybody cheering each other on to move forward. There's some amazing friendships that were connected as well during that time. And being able to have the expert myself to help you see the things that you're not able to see, give you the recommendations that you're not able to know on your own. And as well, being able to support you, to shift your mindset, to shift your confidence, to give you the expertise that I have, to know that you can get there. but it's very hard to get there on our own. And even though we feel like we can do it all, for this, we should not be doing it all because there's experts and there's a community that is needed for that support. And that's why in terms of what is included, people ask, it's going to be 12 weeks. So you have weekly lessons provided inside a private membership portal that you have access to for life. We have weekly group coaching sessions as well, so we can support each other and I can answer all your questions, and a Facebook group for a lovely community. We're starting on February 10th, and I like to keep my program small, so only 10 spots available. The investment is 1,297, I'll say it that way. But if this really speaks to you, and remember, don't hesitate, you can always message me over on Instagram. I think Jamie put the link up. It's going to be $997 until January 24th, Friday at noon. Because if you're an action taker, I want to give you that gift of getting it at an amazing price. So you have 48 hours if you want to join into that. Again, no pressure. It speaks to you. Message me. We can see how it can work for you. Everything is online. But what I love about this is really when I've run it online for 12 weeks, the community, the support, and you have access to really high-end coaching. So that's going to be something amazing. But if you're like, oh, I'm not too much into group coaching, you can also have private coaching through the Circle of Wellness. You can always book your session with me there as well. If you want more one-on-one, that is also available for you. And if you're interested, you can book with me directly. You can contact me through email or through, I think, Instagram. Jimmy put my link there as well. So, speeding through because there's so much to share. Does anybody have any questions about the workshop or about the program Let's Eat that's starting in a few weeks? I'm open here. Oh yeah, thank you so much for putting the link for my Instagram. If ever you want the meditation, you can message me there. If ever you have any questions about the program, just message me there as well. So if you have any questions, you can put them directly in the chat, or if you want, if you feel free, you can always unmute yourself and open your camera and we can chit chat. We have 7 minutes left. Any takers?
Thank you, Dina. I'm just going to stop recording just so if anyone wants to share any information or have any questions, they can do so.
Perfect.